Okay, today folks we're going to have a wee look at using a quick mask selection tool, which is going to allow us to select part of this area, this image, and we're going to apply an adjustment layer which will allow us to colour part of the image. To begin, what I'm going to do is make a duplicate copy of this layer. I'm just going to call that edit. Okay, so there's my edit layer. Now what I need to do is click on the edit mask mode, which is this wee icon at the very bottom of the toolbar. I click on that, you'll notice that my default colours now change where black is the foreground. Now the tool that I need to use when in this mask mode is the brush tool, which you'll find here. Now up here, this is where I can change the properties of the brush. I'm just going to adjust the size, and I'll just go onto my screen just to check to see how big it is. Don't want it too big. That's not too bad. And the hardness also I can adjust. Instead of having this hard, bold outline, if I drop it down, I'll start having a more blurred, feathered edged brush, which can allow me a bit more control, particularly when I'm zooming in and working with an image that's slightly pixelated. And this is a small image overall, so when I do zoom in on it, there may be signs of pixelation. So I'm ready to go, so I'm just going to zoom in using the navigator, grabbing the red window, navigate it over the area that I'm looking to work on, and I'm just going to concentrate on this section of the lipstick. So holding down the left mouse, I started to paint. And the way that this mask technique works is that the area that you're planning and selecting is identified by this red colour. Now it can be changed and set up to whatever colour you can work with. The default is red, and there's not really any reason to go about changing that. So just being very careful, making sure I have everything selected that I'm looking for. So continue to work away on that. If by accident I happen to make a mistake and go away over here, flip to my rubber. Rubber is the same as the brush. Set up the diameter, set up your hardness, and simply just rub away. Now one thing that's happened here is from the last time I'd used it, the changes have been made to the opacity. I need to make sure that's right up at 100%, and also the flow. Okay, and you'll see now that that's starting to rub away quite nicely. Okay, so let's zoom back out again. Happy with that. So now what I need to do is come out of this mask mode to see my selection. When I come out, there's my marching ants, there's my selection. Now it's important that you have zoomed right out on this image, because if I was here, it looks at the moment that I have this area selected, which you would think would be right, seeing as how that's what the area that I painted, but when we zoom out, there's actually a perimeter of marching ants going around the outside of the image. Now what that means is that it's not this area that's selected, it's the area surrounding the lipstick, because there's your border. Okay, so what I need to do is invert that selection, and I do that by going to select, inverse. And you'll notice that the only border now, or only perimeter of marching ants, is around the area that I wish to edit. So what I'm going to do at this point now is create my adjustment layer for this area. So clicking on my new fill or adjustment layers, I'm going to select hue and saturation, and by clicking on the colorize button, I can now adjust the colour, the hue, the saturation, and also the lightness if I wish for that area. Okay. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to hit OK. Now the way that that's worked is using a mask. The mask has selected, or allowed me to affect the white area only, and the white area represented here is the lipstick. The black area has been masked off and it's not been affected at all. The hue and saturation panel here can always be reopened by double clicking, and I can always then change the values at any point if I wish. That process could be repeated again for the lips. If I go back to the edit layer, turn on my mask, get my brush and start painting the lips, I can do the exact same thing. And what I'll do is I'll pause the video, continue and do the lips, and just show you the finished result. Okay, so I've selected the area that I want to affect in the lips. So I'm going to do the same thing as before. Come out of the mask. Again, unless this is the area that you're planning and selecting around the mouth, we need to invert the selection. Where this might be useful is if you were working with a colour image and you were looking to select the eyes and then change everything black and white, it's a lot easier and quicker for you to select two small areas and then use the area that's been selected surrounding it to be affected. But in this case, we want to invert the selection again. So select, inverse, and this is the area now that I'm going to affect. Now I'm going to generate a new hue and saturation adjustment layer. Click on colorize, and there we go. We can now change the colour of the lips, favour the saturation. Now I would avoid using a lightness, because if I add white to the image it becomes too bright, and the opposite too dark. I want to try and keep it realistic and within the same lighting conditions as the rest of the image. Again, if I'm happy with that, hit OK. Now what would be important, and I would encourage you to do at this point, or even before this point, would be to make sure you've named these layers. And this here is the lipstick. Before I go too far, I'm going to call that lipstick. And then the one underneath it is a new one I've just made. I'm going to call that lips. Okay, so same as before, you can see this mask that has been applied to this adjustment layer has affected the white area only, which is the lips. Now, if I wanted to edit this any further, for example, I perhaps maybe missed a part, instead of going all the way back again and redoing my selection, using this mask tool, I can select the mask, and how it works is the opposite of each other, black and white. The white is the masked area, which in this case is providing my colour, and the black is not affected at all. So what I'm going to do is, using a brush and the colour white, I can start painting, and you'll see that when I paint white, what it's actually doing is adding and building on to this masked off area. So the opposite, if I flip that to black, I can take away. So that gives me that control of tidying up my selection. If I'd missed a part, or if I'd perhaps done it a wee bit too much, I can play about with that and tidy it up.